Welcome to the show, and today's guest, a very, very special guest. I'm really, really happy that he agreed to be on, broadcasting all the way from Ohio. And I want to welcome Mr. William Slaise Jr., YouTuber, live streamer, photographer, editor, content creator. We're going to be talking a lot about what's happening in live video, what's happening and how is video just taking over the space. And he's also a former policeman, which we had a nice little brief discussion before the show. A lot of my family, my in-laws, and other family members are in the police force as well. Love my boys in blue, my boys and girls in blue. Much respect. And we're going to talk a little bit about a story that I have. I can't wait to hear what William thinks about this, about how I got one of my students who was a retired police officer. He's about 66 years old, pretty close to my dad's age. And how I got him into the concept and the idea of using Snapchat for his expertise. And we're going to talk about that. I can't wait to see what William thinks of that. So without further ado, I just want to welcome Mr. William Slaise Jr. William, thank you for stopping by, man.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here on the NEZNATION. And to all you guys out there, my name is William Slaise. As he mentioned earlier, I'm a YouTuber, live streamer, photographer, content creator, former cop of 18 years. And
while you're doing that, I'm going to share this out. Thank you, William. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more that I missed on the introduction. Go ahead.
I'm here in Northwest Ohio, and a lot of the things I do are offline, local businesses. I help them with their photography needs, live streaming needs, as well as some video show reels. And I'm noticing a lot of them are beginning to get the desire to get into the space that we're in. So I present myself as a resource. I also I teach local photography classes for the local area. And that by doing that,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me. And I'm out of my home. Not very interested. I had a podcast previously, but I decided to shut that down and some other things because when I first got into the space, you guys all know we kind of bring a lot of what's offline in terms of some of our thoughts and decisions into the online world. And I listened to a lot of what everybody else was saying, which was, you got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this. But after being here for a while, what I decided to do was kind of go against the grain and find my own way. So that's what I'm doing now.
That's really cool. And you know, this hasn't been around that long, obviously. I mean, obviously video has. YouTube's been around for over 10 years or just over 10 years. And, you know, live streaming. And I don't know if you just saw, I just noticed this today, but now I'm sure you did, William. William seems pretty aware of what's happening in the social media world. And by the way, let us know in the comments, coming in on the broadcast, let us know how the audio is, how the video is. When you go live, all sorts of shit can happen. I'm sure William knows this as well. So let me know what you hear and see and if it's coming through okay and if we can do anything to fix it. Beautiful. If we can't, I don't know what to tell you. We'll do the best we can. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, so Facebook Messenger just introduced stories. And by the way, do you use Snapchat, William? I don't know. I know you do a lot of photography and editing, and I can't wait to ask you about YouTube because I'm so trying really hard to up my YouTube game. I'm really a big fan of YouTube, and my YouTube channel has been steadily growing in the last 4 or 5 months. But are you on anything else besides Facebook and other live streaming platforms? Are you on any of the other social media platforms like an Instagram or Snapchat?
I am actually on Snapchat. I can't say I have a thought out strategy for Snapchat yet. I'm on Instagram. A lot of times I share some pictures of some of the things that I do, some of the photo shoots that I do on Instagram. What else? I'm on Periscope. I've done some live streams. I'm actually working on a strategy to use a Periscope producer, but focusing mainly right now on YouTube, Facebook, and using Twitter.
Okay, and you also very cool, and thank you, Abby, for joining. Abby's a former student of mine. Hello, Abby, welcome. Leave some comments. Abby. Let us know how it's coming through. Awesome. Share it out if you don't mind. That'd be great too. We're gonna get to questions. If you have any questions for William or myself, we'll get to questions kind of intermittently through the broadcast, but also we'll leave some time at the end if there's any questions that we may have missed or questions you want to ask. But we want to really get into the interview here. What are you? So Instagram, which seems so perfect for what you do, William, with the photograph being kind of primarily a photographic app. Do you use stories on Instagram?
Well, I was just posting different pictures and speaking about it as I did photo shoots, and I would get inquiries from that. But I noticed recently they've allowed us to upload 10 at a time, 10 pictures at a time, and 10 videos at a time.
Oh, yeah, that's something new. They just they just launched that. That's really that's the swiping. You can, is it 10 photos? I didn't know that in the feed, right?
Yeah, it's I think they're calling it an album.
Like almost like a slide, like an album, like a slideshow, yeah. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I'm assuming that you're not new to the photography video game. You've been doing this for how long again, William? You've been in the videography, photography game?
Video and photography for about, I'd say at least 10 years.
And I have to tell the people how old you are because it just pisses me off. Maybe we'll make it a little game. You guys, so I talked to William. I thought, check this out, Nez Nation. So I'm 40, right? Just turned 40 in December. So I was like, so William, because he's got like a real just likability to him, just a sweetheart, and he's got kind of a youthful glow about him. I'm like, William, you can't be more than 28, 29. And he goes, I'm 44 in his big, deep bass voice. And I'm like, 44, you son of a bitch. You look terrific. Like nice jeans, bro. So my point is, most people watching might not be able to ascertain or how long how long William's been in this game. So what are your thoughts then? Like, you've been in this for a while. So what are your thoughts that this burgeoning kind of popularity and this burgeoning sort of scene, if you will, of live streaming video? I mean, I've always loved film. I've always loved storytelling. That's my background. I mean, I'm a writer, author, writing professor, and a speaker. That's my gig. Like, I love stories, and I've always been such inspired by stories, right? And this is just a medium that really complements storytelling. And I want to talk about Casey Neistat too, who literally I just recently have been following for the past maybe month or so, not even that long. I think he's incredible. And I've always been interested in film, and I've actually done work in film. I've done music, I've done editing, I've done acting in film before.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on this sort of craze, if you will, or this? Do you think it's warranted? Do you think it's interesting? Do you kind of get like, well, do you feel like it's getting saturated with people who think they can do video? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to get somewhat metaphysical on you real quick.
Oh, metaphysical? Not on this show. We don't do that.
I believe that technology as a whole is an effort to recreate maybe something that we forgot in terms of connectivity and communication. All right.
Whoa, too deep for this show.
We'll put that there. But
I love that.
I remember 8 to 9 years ago trying to live stream, and the amount of equipment and money that it would have taken to get to that point. Now, like you said before, anybody can do it, but there are so many choices. It's like being at a smorgasbord.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, if you don't focus and if you don't allow yourself to stay focused and not get distracted by the latest shiny object, which there's like 3 or 4 every day.
Something.
Yeah, I think you'd be like a hamster, those little wheels just stay still and never get anything complete. So it's a double-edged sword. The potential and your capability of doing things and competing with the big guys, it's there, but unless you focus, you can be easily distracted. So
that's such a good point, because I feel, if I may piggyback on that, I feel like, I have to be on Snapchat. I have to be on Instagram. I have to be on YouTube. I have to be on Pinterest, which I've never even been on Pinterest. I have to be on. Why? Why do you have to be on all these platforms? Well, I mean, why not? So if it means I need to put in more work, then I'll put in more. I actually used to believe in this philosophy, William. It's like, well, no, it's just about work. You just put in the work, and you have to go where your audience is. Yes. But there is, I think there is some intelligence, and I know a lot of people, you hear this sort of, working intelligently or hard work, the difference between just being busy and actually being productive, right? And it's so interesting that you say, really know what you want, know your objective, know your purpose, because this is the same stuff. If Abby's still here, she'll confirm this. This is the same stuff I teach in my writing classes and my communications courses. The medium might have changed, right? Or the medium might be different than a piece of paper or an email or a letter or a personal essay or an argumentative essay. But the logistics, the fundamentals are still the same. In other words, you need to know who you are as an author. You need to know what your purpose is, and you definitely need to know your audience. And it sounds like to me that's what you're saying too about live video. And it's not kind of rubbing you. It's not kind of like you don't get any sort of feeling like, hey, I've been doing this a long time. Like, who are you guys to come along and do this? You just said live streaming, what you said, 9 years ago? And I can't imagine the technology you needed to have to be able to do that.
It was crazy.
And I feel like Facebook should make it easier. I mean, I think these companies, these platforms, like you said, Periscope Producer, they've got to work on making it easier. I'm using a third-party software. A lot of people use third-party softwares. A lot of people use encoders, right, William?
Yes.
What is your thoughts? Do you think that this is just a matter of time, that like Facebook will allow you to do a dual screen and interview style kind of straight from the actual platform? Or do you feel like they're just like going to focus on mobile and just going to go all in on mobile?
Especially due to the fact that they're pushing for TV, I really think that it is just a matter of time. As a matter of fact, I was watching a stream. Someone posted something the other day, and they talked about PIP, picture in picture,
right?
And I thought that it finally arrived, but they were referring to when you watch videos and stuff, or it might even be on Facebook TV that they were referring to. So, yeah, I have strong hopes, and I believe that it will be happening, because if you can help someone bypass that third-party software or that encoder, you've just opened up that to so many more people. And then, I mean, who doesn't want someone to create free content for them,
Right.
So I think it's just a matter of time before Facebook.
It's just a matter of time. And what are your thoughts on, so tell us a little bit, because I love YouTube. Andrew, thank you. Andrew Thomas Pellegrino, old friend of mine. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining us. Please share if you don't mind. That would really mean a lot to us, and leave some comments. We'll get to your questions. So I want to talk about YouTube. We know Facebook Live is amazing. We know Twitter Live and Periscope. You said you do Periscope streams. I want to talk about YouTube because I just I think my Snapchat audience is kind of getting jealous. I apologize, NEZ Nation, because I've been really focusing on upping my YouTube game. And my mind, I don't know if you're aware of this, William. I mean, William, for crying out loud, did you do any research on Professor Nez or what?
Nope.
That's how much William thinks of me. I invite the dude on my show. He doesn't know jack.
This week has been crazy.
He doesn't know jack about Professor Nez. What's wrong with you, Will? Will, you're fired.
I've been fighting the flu. It's crazy.
No, okay, now how many kids you have again?
8.
No, you don't. Get out of here.
Yes, I do.
Wait. Time out. You're not joking? You're not being facetious?
No, I'm on my second. This is my second marriage, my final marriage. I have 8.
Holy and you still look this good at 44? What in the? I need to know what your diet is. You need to send me a PDF of that shit.
Intermittent fasting works pretty good.
Oh, my God. Here we go. Okay, we got to talk about that, too, because I've been hearing a lot about that on the Tim Ferriss show. Okay, so YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, I have, actually. I've been hearing a lot about intermittent fasting. And actually, there's neuroscientific data that supports that. And I'm sure
it sucks at first.
Huh?
It sucks at first.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
You get used to it. Your
but
body's
I want to stick to YouTube, because otherwise I'm as ADD as they come, and if we let this thing go everywhere, it's going to get funkadelic. So 8 kids, I don't even know if I can wrap my head around that. Okay, so we got to get to that topic too. So YouTube, okay. I've been upping my YouTube game. It's the second largest search engine in the world, next to Google, correct?
Yes.
So YouTube, what are you doing on YouTube? And talk about a little bit about your clientele and what you do for them. And then I want to get into YouTube Live, because I know you didn't do any research on Professor Nez. I mean, what kind of guest does this? I'm totally teasing. But I do a show called Mindset Live where I talk about the hell that I went through with this dude.
There's some books of yours on Amazon. I did see that.
Yeah, Conversation with Fear. And I'm also writing Eternal Doubter, which is the little dude that lives inside your brain, called the Eternal Doubter. It lives inside of everybody's brain whose favorite word is can't. So my sort of focus on my Mindset Live show is about the anxiety and depression. I mean, heavy anxiety I experienced, for about 10 years, from my early 20s until my 30s. And still have, but it's not even near what it used to be, thank God, because of some of these things that I've learned and I'm trying to share on my Mindset Live show. So that's what I love. I want to talk about YouTube Live as well. So tell us, what are you doing on YouTube, and what are you doing for clients, and is that linked, what you do on YouTube?
Okay, funny story. My mom passed.
This better be funny. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
okay.
it's not funny. It's kind of off, but it's related.
I don't know if you can start funny story with my mom passed. Unless this is some dark shit. Like, is this dark comedy?
Weird.
Okay, go ahead.
When she passed, I wanted to do something that kept me connected to her. And I noticed I don't know if you know what paracord is, but she was making paracord. Well, it's the parachute cord that they use in the military.
Oh, okay.
We can actually make jewelry and stuff out of it. So I started doing that. Then I started doing tutorials, and I started getting people asking me, how do you do this? So I started using Zoom, Google Hangouts, and I would actually start doing classes. Then I found out that you can do PayPal Me and other ways of getting paid, and I would start charging to do these classes. So one thing that I noticed is with YouTube and other platforms, if you could actually give and find out what people are searching for, eventually they want to go deeper than maybe a 2 to 3 or 5 minute video. Okay. Interesting.
So Nez Nation, if you're listening, if I'm hearing you correctly, and William, I want to hear, this is so intriguing to me because it totally is synchronous with my whole vibe. So yeah, so the university of YouTube, right? You can learn a lot of shit, but with what I'm trying to do, and William's actually helped me. I haven't told you what you helped me with. I'm teaching on platforms like Teachable and Udemy. I'm teaching online courses I'm creating from scratch, which is why I'm getting all this equipment shit, right? But I love live streaming too. You can get all that free stuff and you can check out all these videos, but listen to what William said, Nez Nation. They want to go deeper. So curated content, right? Stuff that is more structured, regimented, and organized rather than just this vomit that sometimes YouTube can be, right? Please continue. This is so intriguing. So you give, and then when the people go deeper, and then how did you accrue clients from that?
The way I accrued them was I would put it in my description, or I would say, go here, and usually it was either on Facebook Messenger, and what I did to actually see if it was feasible is I asked, if I covered these topics, would you be willing to pay a fee for it? And the first 7 people,
just asked. Yeah, that's great.
And that's scary.
It's kind of, it is scary.
And I wanted to piggyback on something that you said before I started talking. A lot of people, including myself, say, well, why in the heck should I make something? You can find it on the internet. You can search for it on the internet. The thing that you have to realize is you can search for it on the internet, but the internet's not arranged like the Dewey Decimal System. It's not arranged in a coherent, orderly manner to get someone from A to B to C as fast as possible. Time is a resource that you cannot replace. And those are the customers that you want to realize that. So don't worry about it when someone says, well, I can look it up on YouTube, or I can look it up on Google. Let them.
Or if I may, William, or when people say, well, it's already been done, or other people are already doing it. Right. So there's that one kind of school of thought that, like, well, I can just check it, or I can just find it on the internet. Why would I even pay for something that you could offer? There's that school of thought, which is really completely moot. And then there's the other school of thought is like, well, it's already been done, which I just literally this last year, I've been just diving deep into online course creation because the dudes who are making a lot of money teaching online on platforms like Udemy, Thinkific, Teachable, Skillshare, they're not even, I'm a writing professor. I have 3 degrees in this shit, right? And I'm good at, communications and making my classroom engaging. What a perfect fit, right? And I hate driving. Like I drive every day an hour to get to school. I have an hour commute both ways. And now Ohio might be different because I remember what driving was like in Indiana. In California, William, people drive insane. And they're driving 90 miles an hour, whether it's raining, whether it's shining, what doesn't matter. And there's accidents. I mean, I think the 405, the 5, and the 91 are literally, somebody on Facebook backed me up on this. whoever's from California. I know Abby and Andrew are. The 405, the 5, and the 91, I think, are in the top 5 or 10 of the most dangerous freeways on the planet. So, it makes complete sense for me to jump into that, right? And I've been diving deep into marketing, course creation, and just learning. Hey, Gord, thank you for joining. Gord, thank you so much for coming on. There's my Ed McMahon right there. And even though Jay Leno never had an Ed McMahon, so it makes no sense. So man, that's so cool what you're talking about. I'm learning not only do people want, to go deeper, but you don't have to know, you don't have to be like an expert all the time, which, I mean, I have 3 degrees in this. I've been doing this for over 15 years. I feel like I have the ethos and the credibility, but here's the trick I learned is that as long as you know more than the person who's taking your class, meaning like a 4th grader can teach a 3rd grader, right? Some things, but probably not teach an 8th grader or 9th grader, right? I mean, maybe they could, but the point is that you don't have to know more than everybody. You just have to know more than the audience that's taking your course. What are your thoughts on that, William?
I agree 100%. And you'd be surprised on the short amount of time if you focused on, getting above 95% of the market of people who are beginning to begin to get into what you're teaching. Now, that Paracord This was a channel that I started, but I walked away from it. And what's funny is it's continuing to grow in terms of subscribers. And I decided to go ahead and start my own, which is pretty small right now, but I've gotten business from that.
Cool.
This place. So,
do you mind telling us a little bit about how you convert those transactions, or how do you what kind of charges do you offer? Like, do you charge by the video? Do you charge by the hour? Just in case people who are really, really curious, because I know that the one of the biggest reasons I got into a lot of this type of game was that I really want my side hustle to become my major hustle, right?
Right.
So I do books, I do online courses, I do workshops, I do consultancy, but my day job is still working at like 5 or 6 universities just trying to put food on the table, right? I mean, they don't pay professors jack. I don't know if anybody knows this. People who are watching, even I teach at Chapman University, and God bless them for hiring me, and I actually went to school there too. They don't pay professors jack. I mean, professors don't make hardly anything. You can make more money working at Starbucks, right, as an adjunct professor. So I'm so in love with the idea of turning this beautiful thing into something that's valuable, but also something that, hey, I could actually do this shit full time. So do you mind telling us anything about it? You don't have to. I'm kind of prying here. But do you mind? How do you carry out your transactions, or how do you write an invoice, or what do you charge typically?
Introductory course was said correctly. $47 on average. I don't go anything lower than that. A lot of the like group type things, we can go up to $197. To the highest I've ever charged was $397, and I would like to get up to like the Lewis Howes and all that other.
I don't even think that's a lot. I think that's really reasonable. That's like super reasonable. I was expecting a lot higher actually for your expertise.
Oh no, not yet.
But you're getting there. You're getting there.
Yeah. So in the beginning, the mechanism and the way that I would do it was I would ask people if they wanted to. And then I would basically send them a digital way to pay. That can be PayPal. That could be Stripe. I've uploaded some things to Gumroad. I've been thinking about Thinkific and Teachable, but Gumroad, I've used that.
Never even heard of Gumroad. Is that a teaching platform?
Yeah, well, it's a platform you can basically upload your stuff to, and they handle the transactions. But let's just say that what we're doing right now,
learn something new.
Was a course, right? You can sell a ticket. And another thing I've just found out was, I don't know if you've heard of Eventbrite.
No. Well, wait, it sounds Eventbrite. Okay, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, before that was
familiar.
Sell tickets to events. Well, you actually could sell tickets to, we could have sold tickets to what we're doing right now, and then put the Zoom thing there, and they go, prior
what
to
an
that.
Idiot. So, we could have been making some money right now. What kind of buffoons are we?
So to speed that up, I decided I need to basically be able to reach more people and put this offer in front of them. And one of the best ways to do that is webinars. So I invested, into Lewis Howes 7-figure webinar program.
You actually took that. You actually took that course?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Can you tell us a little bit? Because I listen to Lewis Howes's podcast, and those of you that don't, The School of Greatness, and I know that he is a former football player for the not the NFL. Arena football. Yeah, he was actually pretty big in arena football. Hey, Ebony, how are you? Thank you for joining.
He has a brother that's the #1 jazz violinist too.
No way. I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to his podcast, and like he is doing some crazy stuff online with digital marketing, with online courses and webinar. He's almost like the webinar master. It seems like. Gord has a question saying, William, do you operate a membership community? Do you believe in monetizing that way? What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't operated a membership community, but I do think that either that or the subscription-based model would be pretty good. It's something I would probably try to do later on, but not at this point in time. The thing I like most about it is you can kind of determine what your income is going to be, but at the same time, you have to have a mechanism to replace those that drop off, because there is a turnover to just about everything we do, specifically subscriptions and memberships. Monetizing it, yeah, I think it's a good idea to try to monetize whatever you can to make sure you can sustain yourself, because if I couldn't keep my lights on, there's not much I could do for my customers. You know what I mean? So,
very
monetizing, yeah. It took on a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But I'm just being real.
No, absolutely. And that's why I wanted you on the show, William. I love your authenticity. Ebony says, this is Jerry, my wife's Facebook. Why don't you get your own Facebook, Jerry? What are you doing on your wife's? Well, if it's any consolation, your wife looks beautiful. So very good, Jerry. Maybe I'd use her Facebook too if I were you. Gord has another question. What was your starting out monetization strategy? We kind of talked about that, but do you mind going over that a little bit, maybe again, William? What was your starting out monetization strategy?
The very first thing that I did in terms of monetization was one-on-one consultations. And this is why I decided to do it. Let's just say, right now, something you'll never see is a hot red How Pure 40. When I get bored, I like to paint stuff. Mixer and some other stuff over here. So, when you're
welcome, Jerry.
When you put yourself out there, people ask questions. Just like I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But you can only take so much time away from your family and other things in your life. And remain sane and happy before you put a boundary there. And that boundary is, I need this per hour to continue. So what I started doing was I threw a number out, an unrealistic number, because the first consultation that I had, and to be perfectly honest, I may seem like a bad person, I didn't want to work with that person anymore. Because it just felt like it was a relationship that was draining me, and I said, I think 137 per hour. They paid it.
No way.
Yeah. And all it was about how to hook this stuff up,
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from that situation because I felt good about helping them. And I also learned that you can put a number out there, and don't ever think that you should charge what you would pay. Don't ever think, oh, I wouldn't pay for that, because what something means to someone else may be completely different to you.
Right.
And value yourself, because like I said earlier, you can't replace the time. So yeah, it was consultation, but you can only do so many consultations because you only have so many hours.
Yeah, that's almost like that's a great way to start, perhaps, but it's a very tough thing to sustain, isn't it, William? I wanted to ask you, it's so interesting because this is such, first of all, thank you. This is beautiful information, very valuable information. Something that I think a lot of people don't realize, and we're a lot older, than at least I feel a lot older than if I was doing this in my 20s, and I wonder if you would agree with this, William. I would be just chasing the money, but at the same time, you lose that sort of balance of, I remember somebody, I can't remember who it was, said on some post somewhere that it's such a beautiful thing to actually work with people that you enjoy to get to a level. Like in the beginning, you got to scrap, right? In the beginning, you got to just get as much as you can and try to build. But then eventually, you know, especially when you get older, I mean, William, don't you agree? It's like, who do you want to work with? Who are you? You said time. There's no refund on your time. I mean, Steven Spielberg said that's the greatest gift you can give to anybody is your time, because you can't take that shit back.
Right.
Gord says you get to choose your clients and don't have to stay with the toxic ones. Yeah, very good point. Gord's been in corporate. He's been in high positions way before he became a YouTube creator. And everybody go follow Gord. Gord's got some great stuff on YouTube. His channel is amazing with editing video and all sorts of stuff, softwares and audio. Do you want to hear how you helped me, William?
Yes. Yes.
So check this out. So I was new to Udemy. This was back in like 2016, late 2016. And I was just getting all this shit set up, and my lighting, you know, this is not, I mean, this may look good. I hope it looks good, but it's really not. It's very inexpensive. You know, I didn't go crazy on this. I did spend a lot on the audio. I hope the audio sounds good. What do you think, William? You like this audio mic, Apogee?
Yeah, it sounds really good. Is that a condenser?
This is specifically for, no, it's just an audio mic specifically for Mac, for Apple.
Okay.
And okay. Gord helped me out picking this. It was between the Blue Raspberry and this. And we did a lot of research, and it turned out that the Apogee was the perfect fit for me. And I love the way, now I spent a lot of money on this. This was expensive. But my point is when I was first starting out, I was just using my phone. I was just using really like a cheap ass lav mic, you know. Actually, it's right here. I have my cheap ass lav mic. It's right here in my you can see it, very cheap, very cheap.
Okay.
There's the camera. Yeah. So it was like $20 or $15 on Amazon. And I couldn't get lighting. I wonder if this is going to refresh his memory. iOS and Mac. Yeah, thank you, Gord. So I couldn't get I had the raccoon eyes. And so I put it out on Udemy Studio, which we haven't even talked about Facebook groups, how valuable they are. And
I did a video for you, didn't I?
Yeah, that's it. You got it. You remembered. And this dude, check this out, NEZNation, check this out. This dude did a video, and he said, make a makeshift reflector with aluminum foil. So literally, William, this is what put you on my radar, because you didn't ask for money. You didn't ask for you didn't just scoff it off or dismiss it. You didn't just send a simple text. So, just get a reflector. You actually, I told my wife, I go, this dude went the distance. He made a video. I don't know if you made it with your phone or not. I can't remember.
I think
he made a video, and he demonstrated, he took the time out, y'all. And I want to tell this story because this is the reason why he's on my show. He took the time out to show me what the hell he was talking about, because, dude, I don't know what the hell reflectors are. I'm the talent. I don't do the technical shit. Just put me in front of the camera and say, go, and I'll do whatever you want, right? I'll make it happen. But the technical shit is not my expertise, right? Which is why Gord helped me out so much with audio. So my wife and I we're just wrapping shit up in aluminum foil, these cardboard boxes. I've got this aluminum foil reflector right here, the same exact one that William helped me with. And ladies and gentlemen, no more raccoon eyes for Professor Nez. I mean, he helped me.
It works.
What's the moral? Yes, Gord, smart and caring dude. What's the moral of the story? He took time out. Here it is. And William, please feel free to revise this. When you do for others without expecting a return, I think you're in God's light. I think it's a beautiful place. When you do for others, knowing that person doesn't really have anything to offer you as far as status, fame, or recognition or awareness or anything like that. William didn't know who the hell I was. William had no idea who I was. But I think it's paid dividends because I've had him on my show. This show's going to rock the house. It's already going beautifully. And I'm an evangelist for him. I'm a fan of his. And I'm free marketing for him. Oh, you need a videographer? Oh, you need a photographer? Oh, you need somebody who knows how to do live streaming? You need a consultant? I know a dude, right? He took the time out. He cared. And he didn't expect anything in return. And the shit worked. On top of that, he produced results. So
I'm so glad.
A real lesson there. Yeah, I was so impressed. I told my wife, I don't know who this dude is. But man, I didn't expect that. He went all out, right? I mean, other people in the group just said, well, what are you doing? Or what do you want to do? Or I don't know. You need to ask somebody else. I got a lot of you need to ask somebody else. And William went the distance. And I say thank you from the heart, brother. That was beautiful. Really helped me out. I'm still using the shit, dude. I'm still using it right here. No raccoon eyes. Look at my eyes. I mean, I look like shit, but no raccoon eyes.
You get the lights shining back up there. Yeah.
So,
I'm glad. That made me feel really good. I got goosebumps on that one.
hey man, I mean, hey man, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So we talked a little bit about YouTube. We talked a little bit about your background, your history, your ethos, your credibility. I want to tell you a story, and I want you to, because do you want to actually, let's preface this. Do you want to talk a little bit about your background in because of my family? Do you want to talk a little bit about your background in the police force, or you don't want to talk about that? It's up to you.
No, I'm open book. Like I said, I'm so free now. It's weird because the older I get, the more free and carefree I become. I'm gonna be a funny, fun grandfather.
Oh yeah, I can tell. I can already tell. I can already.
So yeah,
tell.
whatever you want to ask, go ahead.
Yeah. So what was so you did for 18 years, correct?
Yes.
And you walked away. It wasn't like you didn't. Now you didn't get any pension or anything like that, or you did? Do you mind if I ask that?
They call it public employee retirement fund.
Oh, okay.
It's still in there.
We don't have to get all in that. I was just curious.
Yeah,
because your service is so important and valid. I would hope that you'd get compensated for that.
Yeah, we have retirement plan.
Guess Gord. Guess how old he is. Guess how old. Gord just said how many years young is William. I thought, okay, Gord, this was kind of mentioned earlier in the broadcast. Gord, why don't you pay attention for once? So I thought William was like at least maybe tops 29, maybe 32. Guess how old he is, Gord, and then we'll tell you later. So let's continue this story. Guess how old he is, Gord. You're never going to believe it. So, so you did it for 18 years, and you walked away. What was that experience like? And if you feel comfortable, I know you were late, Gord. You're always late. You're going to be late to your own funeral. You're killing me, Gord. What was that experience like? And if you feel up to it, again, I don't want to pry. What led you from the police force to, or had you always been doing videography and photography and video? Was there something in the police force that has helped you with that aspect of your life, or inspired you with that aspect of your life? And talk a little bit about that, and then I want to share a story with you about how I got a retired cop in my class to use Snapchat.
Okay. I originally wanted to be a doctor, and I left here and went to Chicago. My dad, he taught at a school called Consumer Electronic Training Center, and we were working on computers, making TVs, radios, all this other stuff. So took that, worked in some of the suburbs of Chicago, Schaumburg, Naperville, Northbrook, but eventually came back here and started working my bachelor's in psychology at Ohio State. Was in a bad relationship. In order to not go back to that relationship, a summer, I took 40 hours of classes, and I went through, I went through police academy that summer, which was 40 hours a week for 3 months. And I took 40 hours worth of classes just to stay busy, not get back in a relationship. So as soon as I'm done with academy that next fall, I become a deputy here, but I continue to work on my, my bachelor's degree, which I received in 99. Now, there's a lot of things that occur in the line of duty or just having that job that you don't want to remember anymore. There's just a lot of positions or choices that you have to make that you wish you didn't have to. I feel for just about everybody who embarks upon that profession, but a good one would be someone who originally wanted to do something like help people. And that was my main goal. But once you become part of an organization, you begin to realize that your desire to achieve that objective originally is overshadowed by the red tape and bureaucracy of those above you.
Oh my God, it sounds like education. It sounds exactly like education. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, William. And guess what, Gord? William is 44 years old. 44. He's older than I am. I look about 20 years older than he does. This dude he's looking just sharp as a cookie, man. Sharp as hell.
It's the lighting.
It's the lighting. Yeah, I'm on the bright lights. Are you kidding me? It's the mirror. That's a cool little space right there. I like that frame back there. But anyway, so really quickly, dude, I came from the private sector to education. Okay, I was helping my mom with a business. She had a leather goods store, retail, and she was doing wholesale. And I worked there my whole life as a kid, right? So, yeah, Gord, you're an old man, but Gord, you look great too. Dude, the bureaucracy and the cutthroat that was in the corporate world and the private world, it doesn't even come close to the bureaucracy and the absolute insane administrative hula hooping that you have to do in education. So it sounds exactly like what you're talking about. I mean, I wrote a post recently. I don't know if you saw it, William. I was like, man, I finally understood after I became a teacher why all my teachers look like shit. They look depressed, sad. They didn't want to be in the classroom. You are so bombarded. I mean, I get 100 emails a day that have this much relevancy to what I do. Absolute goose egg, right? Continue. Bureaucracy, red tape. Continue, please. I want to hear this.
Bureaucracy, red tape. But at the same time, after I left, I've had people come up to me and tell me some things, kind of like what you told me about the reflector. I did achieve my goal, but it's like it's suppressed somehow. People come up to me and tell me some of the things that I've done that are good, but it's funny because when they're coming up to me, I ask them immediately, was it a good experience or a bad experience? Because not all interactions with me were good,
Yeah.
But I was also a competitor and go-getter. So back in 2008, I got on the SWAT team. I was on SWAT for about 2 years. But once again, there's a lot of things that you see about human nature that you don't want to see anymore, but you're constantly bombarded with it. And you take it with you. You can never really turn it off. You come out here and you're somewhat cynical, and it bothers you sometimes that how people take life for granted in a way.
Oh my God.
And I worked with a lot of veterans.
You're preaching, brother. You're preaching right now.
I work with a lot of veterans, and I can only imagine how they keep it together from what they've seen. I've had some of them tell me stories and said, the biggest, toughest guys break down. But to bring it into how it's helped me in terms of where I'm at now, reports were crazy. Reports.
The paperwork, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Accidents, yeah. Testifying. So it helped me a lot with communication because there was more pressure testifying in court, in federal court or local municipalities than there is doing a webinar. So I can refer back to that. I can do this, or a raid or whatever, or things like that. But
how did people treat you? Because I don't mean to cut you off, William, but I always told my when the whole the whole F the police kind of movement kind of got resurged, after and duly noted and duly probably justified in some contexts. I told my students, I go, you got to put yourself, because I have family in law enforcement, and I love the fact that these men and women are willing to put themselves on the line, right? And I think it's just like in every field and every genre. There's a few bad, but the majority are pretty good, right? I said, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine if every single day you went to work, and correct me if this is wrong because I want to revise this when I tell my students. Imagine if every single day you went to work, when you kissed your wife, you kissed your husband, you weren't sure with certainty if you were going to be back for dinner, and B, you're constantly met with disgust, repulsion, aversion. People don't want it. When you see those red lights in the back of your your rear view mirror, you think you're your day is ruined, right? Nobody wants to see a police officer until they need them, right? I mean, does that make sense, or is that complete BS? I want to know. That's interesting to me.
No, I think what
were you bombarded by that? Did you feel God, people don't want to, people look at me oh, there's a cop, there's a pig, or there's did you get a lot of that or not really?
No, yeah, and I think it's a natural reaction that just about everybody has, even if you're not doing anything wrong. Just the simple fact of having that those lights behind you evoke a somewhat subconscious reaction, because you've been conditioned over the years. It starts early. Kids watching TV, you see this, and you see all the news, and so and even me, even though I know most of the people around here, but there's good reason for both sides. I'm kind of in the middle because I've seen the ugliness from within and from without,
Right.
So something I was going to say that you mentioned. The
amount, and by the way, Gord says your experience sounds like it was great preparation for client consulting and managing expectations. You know, I
Yeah.
can't. I mean, how much tension did you feel every day? How much pressure did you feel every day? Now, were you like a traffic cop? Were you a beat cop? Were you investigator, lieutenant?
I was a patrol deputy. See, I was patrol. I was a part-time ID. So, let's just say go get fingerprints and all that stuff, evidence.
So your day-to-day activities consisted of.
I go in a roll call. They'd read off what's going on. They assign us to either east, west side of the county or roving. And you go to the area and you receive calls from the dispatch, but I was pretty proactive. So I like to go out. I preferred, like I'm still preferred to go out and try to be proactive to prevent, because I didn't like the fact that for the most part, police officers are reactionary. So, but the thing is, becoming proactive rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And I didn't want to be the one to generate funds for the county. I wanted to be the one who truly genuinely help those who are weaker. I've always felt like I wanted to be the voice for the little guy, even before. And what's funny is a lot of people who had problems with me said, "Oh, you think you're something because of the badge." I was the same person when I went in, and I've run into a few of them afterwards. I'm the same person without, so it was just
you didn't abuse the power. In other words, you didn't try to abuse the badge.
No, I
did you know people in your precinct or in your office specific department that did abuse the badge, and knowingly you knew that?
I put it to you like this: my former boss, they were raided last September by the FBI, and he resigned about a month ago.
Whoa!
And the one who replaced him died of a heart attack a week later, and the one who's currently in now, I'm hearing that he probably won't. Relax. Now, because I saw all this stuff, I was on SWAT. Okay, I'm just gonna say I was a stud. But it got to my head, and I started talking about all the things that I felt should not have been done, or were wrong. And like I said, I'm so free. I'm gonna just tell you guys, you can Google me. You can see what happened when I started running my mouth. They tried to get rid of me. I got my job back, and I could have been there forever. I stayed for like 5 more years. And when my mom passed, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore, because either something bad's going to happen, because when you're in that position, if you're not in like Flynn, there's a lot of things that I can't really talk about here on this broadcast that can happen.
Yeah.
Because folks, I'm not trying to be anti-cop. I got a lot of friends in there still. But what you need to remember is they don't grow us from a special crop. They pick us from the same group of people that everybody else is from. So all the frailties and everything else are imperfections.
Anxieties. I tell the same thing to my students, William. I say, look, professors are people. Cops are people. The dude wearing the uniform, the dude wearing the white coat, or the dudette wearing the white coat and giving you prescription, like it hurt. Like I tell my students all the time, like it hurts my feelings. I'll be honest with you, because this is how I connect with my I love what you're doing right now, William, because you're basically talking about transparency. I tell my students all the time, I say, look, like, yeah, it hurts my feelings when I see you yawn, when I see you not pay attention, when I see you on your phone. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm a human being. I have feelings too. Do I know everything there is to know? Absolutely not. Have I been teaching writing communication courses for a long ass time? Yes. Do I have some suggestions that may be applicable? Absolutely. But I don't want you to think that I know all and end all and be all. But I'm a human being, and you know, I have feelings too, and so just be respectful. Just be respectful of that. Cops are going to make mistakes. Doctors make mistakes. Judges make mistakes. Politicians, forget about it, right? Professors make mistakes. We're all human beings. Yeah, we're not aliens, right? That's so interesting.
Let me tell you 2 stories, if you don't mind.
Of course. No. We're good.
All right.
Don't forget, I got to tell you that story about the cop I got into Snapchat.
Okay.
And why I got him into Snapchat, which is really relates to what you're doing, I think.
Okay. One's sad and one's pretty neat. Which one you want first?
Give me the neat one, then the sad one.
All right. So me and this guy named Andre, we got sent to a call. Someone had a junkyard or something, and he said someone had broken into the area, into his property. So we go there, and the dispatcher said he had his gun out. We said, tell him put his gun away. We're here. We arrive. So we get there. And, we're dark, lights off and everything. We're trying to see if we can find somebody who broke onto his property. And all of a sudden, there he was. No, all of a sudden, there I was. He had a shotgun right to our faces.
What? That's
So
the
yeah.
neat story? That's the neat story?
Yeah, well, let me finish.
Okay, go
so
ahead.
It's like, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. It's us, please, blah, 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 blah. He
Oh,
drops the gun.
okay.
Freaking scary.
Oh, I can't imagine.
All right. So we get done with that, and we pull a short way away, and we do this debrief thing. You guys probably seen it where cars pull up beside each other like this.
Right.
I'm like, man, Andre, that was, crazy. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know what, man? I've been thinking about this internet marketing. He says, that's weird because my brother just moved to France and he's doing it. I was like, what?
Wow.
He's telling me this guy's name, and I kid you not, that just confirmed to me that this space was not fantasy land, that there are people doing it, right? So I was like,
people have fantasy expectations, but it's not fantasy land. I think it works. I think, I know you know who Gary Vee is, and he's advocating patience, patience, patience. I tell now, not to sound like not to say I'm competing with Gary Vee, but I've been telling my students that for 20 years. Like, don't think it's got to happen right away. Don't think that because when you graduate, if you don't get the job in that specific field, that you got your degree for nothing. Like, It takes time. It takes work. It takes patience. A lot of people give up too early because this dude, the dude that lives inside here, right? Mm-hmm. See, it didn't work. See, you failed. See, you suck. See, you didn't learn anything. See, it didn't happen like that. Don't buy what this dude's selling, right? Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that. So that connection, internet marketing, is like, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, he gave me his name, and then I looked him up, and this guy my partner, or the guy who went to the call with me, he's so far removed from this. There's no agenda or motivation for him to give me, but he told me his name, and I looked him up, and I actually met the guy, and he's real,
Wow.
But the thing, the sad story is, and I'm not saying this I don't want sympathy or anything like that, but it's just one of the reasons why I knew that I needed to get out of this. I just needed to get out of it. Went to a call. A woman said she was receiving threats from her husband, who was probably 3 hours away, and took the report. And I said, take it seriously, file a restraining order, blah, 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 the usual spiel. But I meant what I said. So I got off at 12, went home, go to sleep, wake up next morning. Let's just say the street is named Fiddlestick or something. I don't know, Fiddlestick. I forget the name of the street. Wife says, the newspaper says someone went to Fiddlestick, shot his wife, shot her daughter, then shot himself. Now the street had a name. God. The street had a name that could have been a city. So I'm thinking it's another city. Then I started thinking, holy shit, that was that street. He got there 15 minutes after I left.
Oh, jeez.
And that caused me to go upstairs and just lose it. Now multiply that over 18 years. The little kids that you can't help. The boy who hung himself because he broke up with someone, or just so many different things. I guess I'm either too weak, or I just said enough's enough. But I couldn't do it anymore. And when my mom passed, I didn't have a plan. I know everybody wants to wait till everything's perfect. I'm not saying jump into the abyss. It was a choice that I made, and it's scary as hell sometimes still. Yeah. Again. But I had a peace of mind that I didn't have to go to another dead body. I didn't have to go to another little child being raped. I didn't have to go to another domestic violence. I don't have to do that. If I see a cop on the side of the road, I stop to make sure that they're okay. If I see a regular civilian on the side of the road, I stop or look to make sure that they're okay. That's just who I am. But I don't miss when, as soon as snow starts, everybody's wrecking. I don't miss when Christmas in November comes, you have all these domestics. You have some fighting killings. I just don't miss that. But I feel sorry for those guys who still have to deal with it. And when I have to interact with them, if I need them, I'll have that in the back of my head. I don't know what you were at before you came to me, but I don't want you to leave this feeling worse than when you came.
So it was a decision. It was a decision like, look, I got one life to live. This is how I feel. It's not that you're saying that like everybody, I definitely don't think it's weakness. I think it's the exact opposite of that. I think showing that kind of sensitivity and that kind of, conviction that, I need to make a decision about my life and actually have the courage to follow it, giving up something that was probably secure, right? I mean, financially, stable job, steady job. Yeah. Gord says, owning other people's reality inhibits us from living our own lives. Yeah, very well said. Gord's got a brand new book that's really cool called Petals of Life, where it's just like quotation, inspirational kind of affirmations and poems and quotes mixed with this other artist that he's working with. A really fantastic book, because so I can tell Gord's making a lot of comments. Gord's is feeling this conversation. I wanted to ask you, Will, do you think that other, because I remember, and you know, if my mother-in-law's watching, love you to death, God bless her, but I remember that when I was first dating my wife, my soon-to-be wife at the time, we were watching her dog at her house, at my mother-in-law's house, and she called my wife, my girlfriend then, and said, I need to come home tonight. She was a dispatch. She worked in dispatch, right? And so she was at the call center. She was a supervisor when she finally retired. She just retired last year, actually. She did her 30. And
Awesome.
She and my wife said, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? Like, it's very unusual that she would come home like before her shift was done. And she said, I just got a call that I'm just breaking down. And it had to do with a kid, and the kid was in a terrible situation, and she couldn't help. And she was the one who took the call. And the tone in her voice, and when she walked into the house, it wasn't weakness at all, William. I think what you said, it was so powerful. It's humanity, man. It's humanity. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that this is something that's common with people who, because I've had a lot of military students and shit, I mean, I think the majority of them, I mean, I know it's become sort of a thing to prescribe, you know, PTSD, and I think it's real as shit. But, you know, I think all of them pretty much have some form of trauma, whether it's PTSD or something, to having witnessed that. I wanted to ask you, William, do you think a lot of police officers or former police officers or current police officers experience this, and do they talk about it? Do they not talk about it? Is there any way that they have help, or do you see it being this sort of silent demon that kind of everybody just sort of looks the other way? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as I said previously, we're picked from
the same crop. Yeah.
So things do affect us now, but we're expected to perform a job. I'm expected to arrive on either a homicide or a natural death or suicide and perform a job, maintain the scene, secure the scene, get ID in there, and eventually call the coroner, right? Without emotion, to document the facts. But I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
And I had a mom before she passed. I had a grandma. I have kids, and your mind starts saying things, but you still have a job to do. So you go on to the next call and the next call and the next call, and years has gone by. You get divorced. This happens. I mean, all these things, right? You have, I don't know if there are any cops who are going to watch this, but if you know what choir practice is, you have choir practice where you go and drink and cry and only talk to people who experience what you've experienced. Because when you talk to people who haven't gone through it, you look weird and you feel weird. Not to say that you shouldn't, but you look weird and you feel weird. So PTSD. I bet
it can't be easy either to talk to people who haven't experienced it, right? It's not easy.
It's not easy to go out with folks who haven't been in that profession and explain to them why you like to sit with your back to the wall when you go to a restaurant. You know,
right? Wow.
It's not easy for them to explain to them why you may want to avoid crowds or be on the perimeter of a crowd. You know, it's not easy to explain that, so you just don't. But you know all these other things that you've seen that you have to deal with that you can't erase, but you've tried to, you know. Yeah, there is PTSD. Do you feel comfortable talking about it? No. You know why? Because you got to be a stud. You got to be.
It's like a stigma. Yeah, it's an unnecessary stigma attached to it. Like that. There's. You know? It's like you said, weakness. Like.
Yeah,
I mean, anybody who, you know, I was telling my class about, we read a story in class once. I love what you're saying, William. It's so valuable. Where the dude was telling his audience basically in the story that, you know, he was a security guard at a theater, and, you know, but he wasn't like the security type, and if shit actually hit the fan, he'd probably run out of the theater faster than any of the patrons, right? And we had a laugh about it, and then we talked about it we talked about it a little bit more. It's like people like to act tough, and people will talk tough, and people will say, "I'll be the hero," and and me as a professor, right? Like, I'll say, like, because this is actually happening, and I'm sure you're aware of this, William. We're getting a lot of dudes and dudettes coming on campuses and shooting people up, right? This is happening a lot more in America, and my wife is like, shit, but being a professor is almost as dangerous as being, a firefighter or a cop these days, because a lot more of these shootings are happening on school campuses all over the world, right? Especially in the States. And I tell my class, like, look, I can say, and I tell them very straight up, I can say that I'm going to protect you, and I feel in my heart that I would do everything I can to make sure you guys are safe. But if I'm really, really, truly honest, if like shit really hit the fan, I've got a wife and kids, I don't know what I would do. I would hope I wouldn't be a coward. There was that scene in Saving Private Ryan. Do you know what I'm talking about? You ever see Saving Private Ryan, William?
With Occam?
Who?
Occam?
Occam. Who the hell's Occam?
He was a skinny guy who spoke German.
Yes. You know the scene I'm talking about, where he just let his dude. I thought that was such a powerful scene because it communicated that, this shit is not as, G.I. Joe and John Wayne as it like that we likes to be portrayed. This shit actually is horror. It's a horror show. Being in a war, and sometimes being a cop on the streets feels like you're being in a war zone, right? I'd like to say that I'll be tough and I'll save everybody and I'll be the hero, but shit, man, when stuff hits the fan, you never know what could happen, right? I mean, we're all human beings, and sometimes self-preservation takes over. I don't want to say pat myself on the back having the courage to say that. I'm just really truly being honest. Like, I would do the best I could, but if I don't know, because I've never been in that experience, I don't know what would happen. I mean, my thoughts would be on my wife and my kids for sure, right? It's interesting. It's interesting what you say. Gord says, William, you seem like a very sensitive and caring person. I can't imagine having to deal with the sick and nasty of the world like you have and have to throw your emotions aside to be functional at work.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, are you taught to release your emotions, or is that something that you get trained to do, William?
No. And I know that, due to recent incidents and stuff, people are talking about that, or they had been at least. But I put it to you like this. If I came to your house and something happened and you sued me, and while you're suing me, whether it's a rightful or wrongful suit, guess what? If I've had any mental health visits or anything like that, it's coming out.
Was he mentally fit to?
Just because I said I need help.
Yeah.
I can't get this out of my head. So you don't want that.
You don't want that. You don't want to see that side of William.
No. What I'm saying is you don't want to go talk to somebody.
Oh, right. You don't want to talk
to somebody. Because when you go talk to somebody, that's kind of like, they're a little defective.
Oh, right. It shows. Right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I want to tell you.
I'm not saying it shows that something's wrong.
No, of course not.
They could use that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, William. Okay, we're coming on the hour mark. We don't have a ton of time left, but I wanted to share with you really quickly about the story about my student, and then tell me what you think about this, because I'd love your thoughts of somebody who's been in the police force, somebody who's done it for a long time, 18 years, and also somebody who does social media marketing and online marketing and digital marketing, right? So I kind of gave my sort of, we all know that sort of Snapchat was super hot in 2016, and I still love Snapchat, even though I got to be honest, I'm kind of focusing on my talk show here, and I'm focusing on YouTube a lot. So this retired police officer, what the hell this is what he said in class one day. What the hell is Snapchat? My daughter uses that. Or, oh God, is that one of those sexting things? And he was still kind of, a dinosaur, just an old fogey, didn't know anything about it. And I gave him my spiel about how, think about this. And I want to know your thoughts on this. I said, you're retired, right? And I think his name was Jeff. If Jeff's watching, how you doing, Jeff? I think you did well in my class, so nothing to worry about. But I said, hey, Jeff, think about this, man. I mean, you, with this little device right here, you have the ability to reach. Snapchat has 150 million users a day, right? And 8 billion video views per day. That's more people than there are on the planet, right? you have a treasure trove of experience, a treasure trove of knowledge, a treasure trove of expertise, right? What if you had a Snapchat show where you demonstrated every single week? You had a weekly regimented show where you demonstrated every week in maybe 10 or 15 snaps. Maybe that's too many. I think I said maybe 8 or 9. Where you show each week some type of bring your knowledge to the forefront, project your knowledge out to an audience. Maybe one show is about if somebody attacks you from behind. Do a little tutorial on that. I mean, YouTube, obviously this translates for YouTube too, but we were talking about Snapchat. Or, like crime tip, number 6, week 8 of crime tips with, former retired cop or some catchy name, right? You start building an audience. You start building, a community. You start actually helping people, right?
Yep.
This is not just for kids. This is not just for sexting. This is not just for, hey, look at me, I'm at Starbucks with my mocha. You can be silly and shit, Like, you can be silly and shit, but the power, this is why I do this now, because now I like to be silly and have fun and shit, but there's also this power to this stuff, right? There's this beautiful power that you can reach people. What are you going to do for the rest of your life? I told them, I said, what are you going to do? You're retired, right? Are you just going to watch TV, be a couch potato, go play golf? What about giving back? This little device right here is a perfect way to do that. And he was like, I swear to God, William, it was so, I was like in my mode. I was like standing up and I was animated, and me, my energy is kind of a little crazy. And, I have like, I do motivational speeches and stuff like that too for my side hustle. I speak at clients and conferences and gigs. And he was like, he kind of looked at me like, damn, like I was just kind of like wondering what the hell it was, but you've actually like, I didn't expect that. Like I came at him hard, right? And he was actually inspired by it. And I don't know if he's using it now. He's probably not, but he was definitely looking at it with a different kind of pair of eyes, so to speak. You have all this expertise. You have all this knowledge. What do you think of that story, A? And B, do you advocate at all to anybody about what you're doing? Like, you can do this too? And then we'll talk a little bit about how people can reach you, because we're going way over time, but I'm loving this conversation.
I'm good. I'm good. If we can take it as long as you want to take it. I'm pretty good. So things if I can go.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I do advocate. And as I advocate, there's a voice inside of me that says, shut up, William, shut up. But I do exactly what you just did. I initially advocated to my daughters because I see all these girls on YouTube doing the beauty stuff, which they love to do, but I tell them this is more than just a texting. You have a freaking studio. Do you know what this can do that 9 years ago I fought and clawed and tried to do? Do you know what you have right here? And they take it for granted. And then I run into people like truck drivers, carpenters, and stuff like that. And I say basically what you just said. And the problem is, unless you're in the space, it's almost like you're talking a different language.
It's
to
like
them.
Greek, isn't it? It's like, what are you talking about? Right.
And
if you're not excited about it, I think it's true that it's not for everybody. Like, I love this shit. This is my personality. It compliments me. I joke around and say I want to be the, Jay Leno of Facebook Live, but I actually deep down mean that shit. Like, I want to be, I love doing this. I love talking to interesting people. I love interviewing people. The technology has now given me a platform that I can do that. And I think that I'm pretty damn good at it, right? And I feel like, I've been pretty much doing this my whole life, is having these types of conversations. And if it can, entertain people, I want to first, I don't claim to be this, I'm going to, be this, highly inspirational. I have those kind of tendencies and stuff, but for me, it's all about like having fun, enjoying this. And I think there's nothing more contagious. I think Ebola's got nothing. I think cancer, nothing comes close to the
cancer isn't contagious.
It's not? Okay, never mind. I'm not a doctor. What the hell do I know? So, nothing is as contagious. What are you going to do? Are you going to fact check me on my medical bullshit?
No.
But I don't, it's shit. I lost my train of thought. Look what you had me think. What was I saying?
About stuff being contagious.
Oh yeah. So I think that enthusiasm, is the most contagious virus. I think when people are having fun and people are doing what they love to do, that shit is contagious. Seriously, like I've had people walk up to me and just are amped about, frickin' a video game that I could give two rats' asses about, or they're just amped about a TV show, or they're amped about, a project they're working on. And I'm just like naturally, I'm just kind of like, okay, like I don't really give a shit about video games, but damn, you got me curious. Like, what is Pokemon Go? I want to check this out now, right? I mean, enthusiasm, I think, is so contagious. So it's obviously not for everybody, but if you have that thing inside you, that sort of voice and that sort of little whisper that's saying, "Hey, man, this is kind of cool." Maybe it's like listen to what William said. He actually tried to do live streaming 10 years, but way before this shit became even known or popular or whatever. And it takes a lot of equipment. I mean, I'm not a technical dude. I can't even imagine the technical capacity that it probably takes to do this stuff back then. It's so easy now. This is all you need. It's so easy now. I mean, you don't even need to go desktop. I mean, I'm going desktop. I'm using some lights and some shit, but you don't even need to do that. You could just go on your phone and Snapchat, and now Facebook Messenger stories, and Instagram stories, and we haven't even talked about YouTube Live. How many subscribers you got on your channel, William? Your YouTube channel?
I have slightly over 100 on my new one, but on the other one I have close to 1,000. So they're pretty small.
That's awesome.
But,
1,000's a lot, I think.
Having said that, I do want to let you guys know, don't fall for the, I guess, a vanity
metrics. Yeah.
If those,
that's easy to fall for.
Yeah, you can still actually monetize and make a difference in your life with small numbers. But I understand. I'd like to have 10,000.
Well, I know you're aware of Super Chats, and I know you're aware of YouTube Live, and you're probably aware that YouTube reportedly is going to be rolling that out to everybody, maybe by the summer, if not sooner. So I'm going to have to have you come on for part 2 of NEZNATION Live. I'm going to have you come on for part 2 and talk about that, because I just want to say, dude, thank you. We're going to try and wrap this up here. Wow. Okay. This is NEZNATION, and William, this is what I wanted this show to be about. I don't want this show to just be about I know all the experts are telling me, and I'm getting a lot of advice, right? Some advice that's unsolicited. You have to have it's got to be specific. I get that. It's got to have a niche. It's got to have all these things, and it must be very, very focused. And, I get that. I have that with my YouTube stuff. I have that with my other platforms, with the other things that I'm doing, my courses, my books. I really want this show to be about, what do you think of that? Tell me the honest to God's truth. Interesting conversations with interesting people. Everything from silliness to controversial and everything in between. What are your thoughts? Is that just a bunch of shit, or what do you think, William?
No, it's not a bunch of shit. But what those people are telling you, they're telling you it from a marketing standpoint,
which I get.
And I fell for that too, because my podcast was called Entrepreneur Today. What a problem was.
Are you still doing that?
No, I shut that down. Okay. I shut that down. And my belief now is, you get one thing going really, really good, and get it to the point to where it can support the next thing, So that's what I'm working on now. So I shut my website down. I'm no longer doing podcasts on iTunes. It's gonna be strictly video and live streaming, and a lot of offline stuff, because I don't have, a job, and I have to do things to survive.
Right. I don't want to have a job, even though I love my students.
Right.
It's what you said. What you said earlier. The red tape and the bureaucracy drives me insane. They make it so hard for professors to do their job. They make it so hard, and it's so funny when you said something. I feel like I could talk to you for 4 hours. When you said that they tried to get. I actually have to get to my wife. This is getting out of control. I got other shit to do, William. It's not all about you, But here's what's funny, just really quickly, William, because you said something. You go, they tried to make some shit up and not make some shit up, but they tried to, because you were doing things with a different kind of focus and purpose. Honestly, dude, I feel like at the university level, I feel like the more students like my class, it's so funny. I think the opposite. The more students who like my class, the more students who go to the actual administration and say, why can't we get more class with Professor Nez? They're like, okay, what's he doing? They get suspicious. They get like, what's he doing? What's he all about? Maybe he's just throwing A's like it's nothing, or maybe he's not doing the right thing, or maybe he must not, because any teacher who's liked, that just can't be. They're doing something wrong. Literally, I mean, I've had a couple of I think my wife is watching, Megan Cameron, that's my wife. She just joined. Hi, honey. Don't worry, we'll be done soon.
We're almost done.
I'm not cheating on you. I'm not cheating on William with you, okay? So don't worry about it. But
I wish I could show a picture of my sister. You'd freak out.
Uh-oh.
She's a captain in the Air Force, but we're like twins.
That's right. Cool. Next time. So
Okay.
so it's like people who are trying to do something that's not the typical, that's not what everybody else is doing. Maybe there's a good reason why they're being kind of outcasted, and my wife knows this because we've actually several universities. I mean, check this out, William. There was one university, I won't drop any names, I won't badmouth them because that's just not how I do it, but there was one university I worked at about 5 years ago where there was too much laughter coming out of my classroom. There was too much laughter. Now, here's the rub. They learned insane amounts of applicable transformative learning. It's all about transformative learning, right? Take this outside the box. But there was reports that there was too much laughter in my class. And so I never worked. They eventually found a sort of behind real sleazy way. They never actually fired me, but they basically stopped offering me courses. So it basically was like a firing without having the balls to say, you can't be here anymore, right? And actually I was so hurt by that for the longest time. But I finally realized, you know what? Thank God I don't work there anymore. Like anybody who has that kind of mentality, and just the caveat here is not that we were just having jokes and not doing real learning. Like the reviews, the course evaluations were all like 5-star. I never felt so happy about writing. He taught me about public speaking. He taught me, it was like they were learning shit. Mm-hmm. But there was too much laughter. Can you dig that?
I'm surprised they didn't come in there and do an aerosol of ADHD medication for all your students. I was just saying.
What are you trying to say?
I got a 9-year-old. I'm trying to tell him, there's just, we can do homeschooling, and he talks about his friends, but I'm telling him this structure, this educational structure, is not set up for you to get non-conformance. You have to conform.
Yeah.
And you're going to run into some roadblocks.
Right.
And you need to recognize the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
If you're inside the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
And I graduated in 99 from OSU here. And looking back, the reason I went to college is because my mom wanted me to go to college. She had this thing about each generation has to stand on top of that generation's shoulders.
Yeah.
If I could do it over again, I don't think I would have, with the exception of taking only the classes that I was interested in versus all these other things that I think are an attempt to make you feel like you can't laugh or be free.
I mean, it would have been one thing if they weren't learning. I would have got that. Okay, is this dude just doing I mean, nobody likes to have more fun in the classroom. I am like the class clown and the professor in the same kind of suit, right? Like I love to have fun because I can't be in a class that's like, okay, PowerPoint slide number 5. Now we're going to go to PowerPoint slide number 6. Everybody's asleep, I like to just even for my own interest, never mind.
I had a psych professor like that. God.
I mean, I've had a million professors like that. And you know what's crazy, William? I still am paying off my student loans, and I haven't been in school for over 10 years. I'm still paying off my student loans. And I will say there were great professors, but it was far few in between. 90% of my professors in one ear and out the other. I didn't take shit with me when I left the class. It was just a letter on a piece of paper, period. And I
learned how to research. That's about the only thing. Research and get multiple sources of stuff. That's one of the biggest things I could say I took from that.
Which is valuable. It's valuable to investigate, to find out how do you support your points? How do people support their points? What kind of, if you make a claim, you must support it with evidence, with actual peer-reviewed data. I mean, that's like real shit, right? But when it comes to, just reading a book or everybody turn to chapter 6 or here are the PowerPoints and you don't actually engage with. I mean, it's the same. It's the same shit with marketing. It's the same shit with sales. It's the same shit with being a teacher. It's the same thing with being in a personal relationship. You gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. You gotta care. You gotta give an F about your students, your clients, your lovers, your wife, your husband, your sister, your cousin, your patients, whatever, your audience. You got to give an F about them. And everybody can tell when you don't give an F. Don't underestimate your audience. William, I can talk to you for, damn, you're good. You should start your own. Wait a minute, you have a podcast. Start another one, damn it. You're good at this, man. You're good at this shit. I'm serious. You need to do, I think you need to do a live stream show, but don't compete with me, all right? Nobody competes with me.
I won't. I don't have a schedule, but I do have one called Creative Business and Tech. I'm going to start doing it once a week. I don't know what day yet.
Yeah, talk a little bit. Let's wrap this up. Talk a little bit. Now we got the most viewers. Look at this. Talk a little bit. Talk a little bit about what you're doing, where people can find you, how people can find you, and things of that nature. Give us a little bit of information about you, William, and where we can get you. Gord said, oh, my God, like William, I learned how to be resourceful from my university education. The most important part for me, not the technical parts of the degree. Like William. So he says, oh, my God, like William, I learned how to be resourceful from my university education. The most important part for me was not the technical parts of the degree. Very well said, Gord. Do you want to comment on that before you get into your location and how we can find you?
No, I agree 100% with what he said. A lot of times it's not what's necessarily taught in the PowerPoints or the books or the syllabus or syllabi that we get when we're in college,
which everybody throws away after the first day.
Right. And you can't sell your books back for what you got them for. But anyway,
and you know how much the average book is at the university? I mean, it used to be like $100 maybe, like, which was still expensive. Now it's like $300, $400 for a damn biology book that you're never going to use. It's insane, William. The bureaucracy and the red tape. This is why I want to go all in on online course creation, not being, micromanaged and I mean, there's zero autonomy now for most professors. There's zero autonomy. Not being hounded and crowded, right, by bureaucracy and red tape. And actually, and I mean, as much as people don't like Kevin on Shark Tank, he said it best in one of the episodes. He said, it's not about money, it's about freedom. Like being an entrepreneur, hustling, right? Or I mean, I don't even like using that word anymore. I've been having conversations with people. I hate that word now because it's so overused. Hustle, man, hustle, brother. Yeah, I don't even like that word anymore. But it's put in the hard work. Obviously, hard work, right? But it's about freedom. The money can be beautiful. You got to be patient. The money can be beautiful, but it's really about independence. It's about freedom. I tell my students that all the time. Test my shit in the real world. Don't listen to Professor Nez. Don't even listen to me. I always tell my students this. They look at me like, you're supposed to be the instructor. Yeah, but test my shit. Like, just because I'm saying it, just because I'm standing up in front of class and I'm, hired as this professor, doesn't mean that I know everything. Test it. Does it make sense in the real world? If so, beautiful. If not, you discard that shit. I
agree 100%.
Thanks for the great talk, gents. Thank you, Gord, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to have you on for William. You're just too valuable, and you've got just too much knowledge and too much intelligence. We need to have a part 2. So let's wrap this up. Otherwise, I'm going to be sleeping on the couch tonight. Let's wrap it. And it's an uncomfortable couch, William. You're getting in trouble. So let's wrap this up. Tell us where we can find you, and I'm gonna link everything that William talks about in the show notes. Tell us where we can find you, and maybe if we wanted to actually do business with you and things of that sort.
Okay, you can find me at youtube.com/Bill Slaise, on Twitter at WSLAISE. Here on Facebook, my personal page is facebook.com/William Slaise Jr. My actual page will be running the creative business and tech live stream is facebook.com/W Slaise.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, dude, I just want to say, absolutely, this has been an honor and a pleasure to talk to you, sir. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me at this late hour. I know it's like midnight where you are, or 1 o'clock, God knows.
12:24. But thanks for having me.
12:24. Yeah, I want to say thank you and definitely keep in touch. I want to have you on for a part 2 for sure. We can talk about a lot more than what we covered, and definitely we haven't even gotten to YouTube Live yet. So thank you, Mr. William Slaise Jr. And Nez Nation, please, go to hit like on my page if you want more shows like this where we interview amazing people out there doing real shit. Like my page, hit the follow the get all the notifications. And you can always be informed when we go live, when Nez Nation Live goes live. Thank you so much. Leave comments if you have any questions, I know William will probably be keeping track as well. So if you have any more questions, even though we're ending the broadcast, leave comments below, and I definitely check them, and I think William will too. And,
yes, I will.
Who knows, maybe you can make a new connection. I mean, he didn't know who the hell I was, and he went out of his way to help me. So I'm assuming it's not going to be a problem connecting with William. Okay, guys? All right, thank you so much. We are going to go off the air and have a wonderful evening, and thank you for watching.